The pj-fleck-show is presented by Window Concepts and Affinity Plus Federal Credit Union.
Our how is everything. How you do something matters. Culture, how, next-time mentality. That better be first.
The pj-fleck-show starts now.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the pj-fleck-show. And tonight we come your way from the practice facility here at the University of Minnesota. Justin Gaard, Gopher great Ron Johnson, and of course the head coach, PJ Fleck. PJ, obviously a great role that this team is on right now. You came up with a victory against an opponent that's been a thorn in your side for a while, especially their head coach. But you came through with it, and it was a balanced game with both teams, coming down to basically just the end. What did you look at out of that game?
Yeah, they've been a thorn in our side just as Gophers for a long time.
Right.
I mean, Brett Bielema has never lost to the Gophers at University of Wisconsin, University of Illinois. This was two evenly matched teams. And anytime you have two evenly matched teams, I remember looking at the scoreboard throughout the game, and the rushing yards were the same, the passing yards were the same, the time of possession was the same, the score was within one score. But it's going to come down to the last possession and then who could make a play in that possession, whether they were going to score or we were going to be able to get a takeaway or get them, to be able to turn over on downs. Fortunately, our guys made a play. Jod Joyner comes around the corner, knocks the ball out. Great job by Danny Strigow of getting on that football and came away with the victory. And the whole mission was to be 1-0, and that's what we were able to do.
Well, first I want to say, Jim, you did a great job of going from JG to PJ.
Yes.
JG's been asking for that for years.
For years.
Really?
Start with me. I'm the least accomplished one on the set. We have to build up going
Well,
this
we're
way.
just going.
Yeah, you did
Exactly right.
Pierre goes the other way. Pierre
goes
ends
the other
with
way.
JG,
Yeah.
which is the star of the show. So, but going back to the star of the show, PJ.
He died a great Hall of Famer.
That's right. It's been a while.
When you look at Darius Taylor and what he did, we can talk about the almost 200 yards, blah, blah. But here's one thing that I noticed. He lined up wide and ran a comeback as if he was, he played receiver, we know that, but he has a running back's body now. Yep. But to still be able to do that, how well is he starting to grasp all the routes and saying, hey, we can put him more places, or how much is he asking to do more of that?
Yeah, he allows us to be able to be very versatile on offense. Not only him, Marcus Majors the same way, and our backs are just different than what we've had in the past. I'm not saying better or worse or anything like that, just different. They have a completely different skill set. And it's up to our offense to adapt to the personnel that we have on the football team. And I think Greg Harbaugh is doing a great job of distributing the football. Max Broermer is doing a great job of getting the ball to the playmakers, from the tight ends to the wideouts. But having backs that can run routes in the route tree gives you a whole different dimension, and you're starting to see that.
The one statistic that was not even on Saturday, turnovers.
Yep.
You once again won the turnover battle. You haven't turned it over in like a month. Your quarterback hasn't thrown an interception in like a month. The ball is the program, right? Yeah. That's the evidence right there that's led to this winning streak.
Yeah, and this week I know the program we're facing also says the ball is the program, so something's going to have to give on that way. But you can talk about certain things as a coach, but if you truly get your team to buy in it and believe it and see that they can be trusted with that information, meaning you give it to them, they trust it, they know it works, and you can bring validation behind something and show them why it works. And that's the job of the head coach, is to show them why the ball is the program and why it matters so much. It's the number one statistic tied to winning is the turnover margin. And we were 2-0. That is exactly why we won the football game. Gained an extra possession, and then we ended the game at the very last play. So that was huge for us. I thought we did a great job of swarming the quarterback all game. And here, Wally is actually going to scoop and score, and then Baranowski's doing his job. Wally's doing his job. They just happen to be doing the same job that cancels each other out. But that was a huge play in the game, and we needed to get that takeaway early, that's for sure.
A lot of times you obviously want to finish in the end zone, but this time you had to rely on your kicker, and he delivered for you. How much pressure do you try to take off of the kicker? Because they're in such a unique bubble in their own world. All they do is got to go out there and make that one kick. But so how do you approach those guys to give them the confidence that the whole team is behind them no matter the result?
Well, I think your preparation's everything. You're putting them in really high pressure situations in practice, during training camp, during spring ball. You're simulating game experiences the best you possibly can, especially going against the clock. And I think, Dragon's had such great experience here. not only just on the positive side, but he's had to grow and develop from his failing and really just keep rowing the boat. And his performance this year is what Row the Boat's all about. It's not always going to be calm seas. Right. And he's had to overcome a lot. You go back a whole year ago, he was 4 for 4 against Iowa. And those are the only points we scored. We beat Iowa 12-10 because of his accuracy. We needed all 4 of these to go through to give ourselves the best chance to win. He's been great in practice. He's been great through the adversity. He's persevering and staying steadfast, and I'm really, really proud of him.
We know the Gophers kickers have been doing well, and in big games have been moments, but Kevin O'Connell's kicker has an injury. Has he called you to say, can Dragan come out there and help him out on Sunday in Jacksonville? Because Piscataway to Jacksonville is not a far flight.
It's New Jersey to Florida. My goodness. In typical Ron Johnson type fashion, he doesn't know the rules of the NCAA.
Hey,
he thinks
I'm
we
trying
have.
to change the
You
rules.
want to talk about living in your own bubble? That's Ron Johnson. To Jim's point, yeah.
We don't. He hears like revenue sharing, and all of a sudden he thinks like we're like the NFL, which doesn't start till next year. Like we can just off waiver wires. No, not going to happen. We're going to keep our guy, as a Gopher as long as we can keep him, and he's going to have a great career even after Gopher football, and we're really excited for him.
And speaking of great careers, I mean, Elijah Spencer now is kind of adding himself to this list of receivers that's making plays. How much are you trusting him, and how much is Max Broermer now starting to trust in Elijah?
Yeah, I think wherever Max goes with the football in the true pure progression pass game that we have, I think he feels comfortable no matter where it's going. I don't think we have the issue of listen, I can't throw it to there because I don't trust that guy. That takes a lot of work, a lot of time, as you know, as a receiver, to build that connection and bond with your quarterback. That takes a ton of unrequired time, off-season time. Over spring break, these guys were developing that. And then you go through the season, and then you've got to take the data you get from the season and respond to it. These guys have been really reliable on the outside. They have to keep getting better and keep changing their best. Nobody's perfect, but they're allowing themselves to have really good performances based on the consistency of their play.
4 sacks defensively Saturday. Throughout the season, I think you guys are near the top in the Big Ten in quarterback hits, not necessarily sacks, but you've been around the quarterback. So what's been the key to that? How have you been able to make it so messy for the other team's QB?
Well, I think changing the looks, bringing an extra hat in the box. Not only that, rushing 4, condensing the pocket. I think our guys' rush lanes have been really good. We're not giving the quarterback a lot of avenues and alleys to step up and not giving him a lot of space. And if you can take away the space from the quarterback, put him in a phone booth, you can do a lot of things, whether tip passes, which I think we had 7 tip passes last game, which passes defended, which was huge for us. And again, you don't get to see where that ball actually goes, right? It's just like if something happens and you drop an interception, if you catch it, you don't get to see the next play. If we recover the fumble at the end, we don't see the next play. If we weren't able to recover that, you get to see the next play, and usually it doesn't go well for you, and it just happens to be that way. But guys are playing at a high level, and they're playing for each other and working in sync.
Now, everybody on the outside sees your 4-game winning streak, and they think momentum is building for the program. But you, in your weekly press conference, said on Monday, momentum doesn't exist here. Can you explain why that is your opinion?
I mean, I've always felt that, even as a kid. And I think I had a Pop Warner youth coach tell me that. Because momentum is always used, I think, as an excuse. You go on a 20-0 basketball run. And I know basketball's made of runs. But why were you able to go on the run? You shot the ball better. You rebounded on the offensive or defensive glass better. And somebody wasn't shooting the ball well for whatever reason.
Right.
It's a made-up word for us to have an excuse of why we didn't play well. But I can't fix momentum. I can't control momentum. I can't practice momentum. So why would I put a lot of stock into it? I want to have things I can get better at. I want subjective things that we can sit there and say, and measurable things, I should say, not subjective things, but measurable things that we can say, we got to get better at X, Y, and Z, and here's how we're going to get better at that. But momentum is just an easy word to say, yeah, we didn't have the momentum. It's an excuse. So for us, we don't believe in it. Whether it's a 4-game losing streak or a 4-game winning streak, we're 0-0 come Sunday afternoon, looking for 1 victory.
How did that Pop Warner team do?
We must have been pretty good because I believed them.
Yeah.
And
I heard that coach got fired pretty quickly after that.
The old YMCA league in Aurora, Illinois, when I was a young.
Wayne and Garth were there. You played against Wayne and Garth.
Wayne and Garth.
In Aurora.
Flag football, Aurora, YMCA. I swear that's exactly where I heard it.
So you heard no momentum in flag football is where you heard it.
So I'm talking about. We must have been on a heck of a roll.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Or a losing streak, and he was trying to snap you out of it.
Either one, you know?
Yeah, one of the
Either
two.
one. Probably more winning streak. We had some good teams at the YMCA.
Some dudes.
Yeah.
Fast forward and past Pop Warner, we're going to get to a quarterback who actually can throw the ball, because we know in Pop Warner, who knows who the heck. It's usually the dad who has the best son, who's the nicest of the coach that plays quarterback.
Wow. Just talking about past experiences.
Hey, that's why I played receiver. My dad wasn't nice, so they were like, hey, go over there, play running back. But when you look at Max Broermer, when I watch the games, I love to watch the quarterback's eyes. And you see him pre-snap, he's scanning the defense. He's also trying to figure out what's next. He's looking around, then he gets the ball, and then you see his eyes, and I watched Dan Orlovsky explain this. His eyes are married to his feet, so he's not looking here and then trying to throw here. He's kind of playing through the progressions, like you say. What do you think of his performance Saturday, and is he kind of sticking to that now? Is he learning every game and growing and changing?
Yeah, I think the more you play, the more you get compared to yourself.
Yep.
And I think that can be a dangerous thing, right? Because you're elevating one of his best games and didn't play very well. And we still found a way to be 24th ranked team in the country, and he was 4 for 5 on the last drive. So that's the type of expectation, and that's the type of pressure we want our players putting on themselves to keep changing their best.
Can I circle back to the momentum?
Sure.
Just one thing, but is confidence another word for momentum? Because you're confident it works last week, so then you're more confident.
But
in
we
your
only
ability
think
to do it?
confidence works when things are going good. And then when it doesn't, we lack confidence. And that's why we took that shot of Sprite, after the Michigan game, was to say, we're going to get our confidence, and we're going to keep our confidence, even though people say we shouldn't have our confidence. It's like hindsight.
Right.
I mean, even in the media, we should have done this, should have done that. Well, if I knew the kick wasn't going to go through, I wouldn't have kicked it. If I knew we were going to throw an interception, I wouldn't have thrown it. You don't get to live in the hindsight in the coaching world and the playing world. We get to be judged on all those things. But I can't use those as excuses as an educator and a teacher on life and football and think that it's okay it was momentum, or hey, hindsight's 2020 and I should have done this. I don't want our players living in coulda, woulda, shoulda. Live in truth, do the right things, learn from your past experience, leave the event, and move on. It's simple, and do everything you can to be 1-0.
No, I think it's unique how you explain that, and that's why I wanted you to hammer that point home.
Yeah. I'm sure I just confused everybody at home. And it's just another way for people to be like, I have no idea what he's talking about, nor he's making up something again. I just have to be, as an educator, in the way the world is, I want to make sure our guys have their own philosophies, they can believe what they want to believe, they can be themselves, but they can be the best version of themselves and not have all these built-in excuses and blame, complain, and deflect. I just don't want them living that type of life. Be accountable, be elite. Leave the BCD, blaming, complaining, deflecting, and excuses out.
Love it. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, much more here on the PJ Fleck Show as we get you set for the Rutgers week. That's all next here on Fox 9 Plus.
You're watching the PJ Fleck Show.
Welcome back to the PJ Fleck Show as we get you set for the Gophers and Rutgers this Saturday. And Coach, you brought a special guest with us, a guy who really helped you out in that Illinois victory. So I will let you do the introduction.
Yeah, Jalen Logan-Redding, multi-appearance guy here at the PJ Fleck Show.
That says something, by the way.
One of the best student athletes we have in this entire organization over the last 8 years. Truly has a balance between the student life and the athlete life, and there's nobody better representing our program than Jalen Logan-Redding, that's for sure.
I appreciate that.
Oh, shucks.
Yeah, man.
So, Jalen, what did you see in that Illinois game? You're obviously on the line. You're right in the middle of this. How big a battle was this for you guys?
It was a tough battle. When you play Illinois, a team like that, and especially in the Big Ten, you understand that it's going to come down to narrow margins. So, I mean, of course, us as a team, not only in the offseason, we continue to educate ourselves to understand the pressure of the situation, and then being able to execute our fundamentals so that we can continue to be at our best within the situation. So not only me, but my teammates like Dragon, Jaw Joyner, and Max Broermer, I mean, they were great in the situation and executing the plays that were called.
I talked with Cody Lindenberg on the field after the game, and we always get to talk to the offense when they go down the field and score. You get to talk to Max Broermer about the game-winning pass or Darius Taylor. We never get to talk to the defense about finishing the game, and you guys have done that a couple of times, whether it's USC or this past Saturday. So take us inside the helmet of the mentality of when Illinois is coming down the field, and you guys know we got to end this game. We can stop them right here and come out of here with a victory.
Yeah. I mean, of course, we practice ending the game all the time, EOG as we call it. So being able to be in the situation, of course, we were in 2 minute. So being in 2 minute, understanding that coach is calling the calls, time on the clock, understanding the time on the clock, how many timeouts they have, and being able to understand what plays is being called, what we need to do, what's happening in the back end, what we need to do in front to keep the QB in front of us, making sure that he doesn't get out, and if he does get out, we need to get him on the ground so that we can keep him in bounds, making sure that the clock runs out, and then whatever happens, just being able to react to the situation and respond for the next play. So doing that, and then, of course, they were driving down the field, and, one of our guys ended up making a play. Jai ended up making a play, and that's what we expect of our playmakers. Playmakers make plays, and he ended the game for us. And then offense, of course, executed victory, and
that was it.
Game. Yeah, that was it.
Cody talked about just everybody do your job, because in that situation, it's human nature that I'm going to go be the one to make the play.
Yeah.
I'm going to go finish this thing.
Yeah.
And you're shaking your head. We'll talk about momentum in a minute, but that's where people get over their skis, right? Is I'm going to go be the hero as opposed to just doing what's in front of me and letting the game come to me, or let the play come to me if it's there.
Yeah, let the plays come to you. I mean, we talk about that all the time. Do your job, especially at Division I. I mean, if you don't do your job, then, I mean, there's going to be a gap somewhere, and then you'll end up getting exploited. So at the end of the day, you do your job, I mean, we're going to be just fine.
Jalen, you look at your road to Minnesota. Walk us through that process when you were looking back at all the options, because I'm sure you had a stack of offers in front of you. What was it about here that said, you know what, this can be home for me?
Well, first off, this guy. I mean, he was the only head coach to really visit me. Which just let me know that these guys are really serious. It was him, Coach Callie, at the time Coach Panagos, and it was it Coach Rossi? It might have been Coach Rossi. I don't know, but it was Kenny Burns. And they ended up coming to my high school. It was like, hey man, this is what we're about. Broke it down on my coach's whiteboard. Love to Coach Vanetta, still talk to him. So, but him and just talking to my family and just being able to understand that this is more than just football. It's a life program. And throughout my 5 years here, I mean, I've definitely seen that as I continue to grow into the person that I want to be. And of course, there's always more room for growth. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's truly a life program with the resources that we have, and then just building into the program that we always wanted to be. So, I mean, truly, my journey here, I mean, like you said, I mean, there were offers on the table, I can't lie. There are schools out there, but the thing is, you can weed out who they truly are. And this program is 100% authentic.
Was he what you were looking for, PJ? Now that he's been here this long, from what you saw when you went out recruiting to what you have sitting in front of you today?
He's exactly what we thought he was. Not only that, he's exceeded all of our expectations. I mean, this guy has his financial plan, he's got his own LLC, he's got things that are just set up for his future, and he's taken advantage of everything that this university can offer and that student athletes have access to these days. So he's exceeded all my expectations, and hopefully he doesn't go anywhere just yet. Hopefully we got him for one more. We'll see. I'm doing my marketing campaign right now for him, making sure that he understands a little sales pitch. One more year. We did that last time with Ja, too. One more year. We're going to keep it going with JLR, that's for sure.
All right. If we are going to keep the show going as well when we return, we'll wrap up this edition of the PJ Fleck Show, coming to you from the University of Minnesota. Welcome back to the PJ Fleck Show. Justin Gaard, Ron Johnson rejoins us, and of course the head coach PJ Fleck here as well. And this week it's Rutgers. It's an opponent that you have a lot of familiarity with. both in position and coaching staff. So does it change anything for you? Is there any kind of advantages that you can draw from the knowledge that you have of your opponent?
You're always looking at the connection you have with different staffs, but you really have to dive into the 1-0 mindset, and you've got to dive into what the film says. Every team is completely different. Just because there's crossover in staffs from years ago doesn't mean that it's going to affect or infect that screen and that video that you have. You've got to take it at face value.
How about former players?
Yeah, that again, that's all part of the information that you're gathering,
Okay.
as you go through the week. But you have to be able to look on the film and say, this is what it is. This is what's got better. This is what is consistent. This is what we're looking at. And then you build your game plan that way. And they've got an extra week of preparation on us with the bye week. So we've had to play catch up all week. Our guys are in a really good rhythm in terms of the preparation. But we're going to have to play really good football to beat this football team. And they were one of the hotter teams in the first 4 games, went through some injuries, went on a little bit of a losing streak, but they got everybody back now. I mean, everybody's healthy, and I expect them to be at full power here on Saturday.
And they have a really good running back, almost 1,000 yards of all-purpose yards. Don't really use him in the passing game, but how important is it to neutralize him and stopping the run?
He's so good. He reminds me a lot of Mohamed Ibrahim. He's really, really tough to tackle. We're going to have to tackle 10 times better than we tackled at Illinois to stop this running back in the running game. It's not just him, it's other backs, but he's got great center of gravity, great balance. He's strong, he's tough. He's not the biggest guy. And kind of like Mohamed, it's hard to tackle a guy where you don't get a lot of angles and leverage on him. And that's the challenge he possesses, is he gets lower than you. He's strong, he's tough, he's got great feet to make people miss in the hole. We're going to have to really rally to get around this guy.
All right. Well, it's been an honor to be on your show.
Yeah, thanks for being here. You really upgraded the program here with Pierre being gone.
Here. Pierre will be back next week. Ron, JD, thank you so much. We'll see you Saturday.